My phone's having issues. I'll get back to the Japan. This is Stephen Krupeli and David Christum, I think. I think that's how you pronounce that. I mentioned Stephen Krupeli yesterday. I had one of them compact jazz CDs and I was talking about it. He'd been around a lot longer than I had said he had been, and I kind of regretted saying that. He had played with what was called gypsy jazz way back in the day, you know, the 40s and 50s. He did it with Django Reinhardt. You might know who Django Reinhardt is. He's a guitar player that is just absolutely mesmerizing. Django Reinhardt played with 2 fingers, and he played better than almost any guitar player, or faster than any guitar player could play today. A lot of harmonic minors. Stephen Krupeli, I have to be completely honest with you, I never really got into. I wanted to get into him because I liked, you know, violin was a different type of instrument for a jazz, and I really was into jazz. Tried to get into Jean-Luc Ponty, and I tried to get into Stephen Krupeli. Loved the way the violin sounded, but I can't find somebody I really like on violin that plays jazz. It's always been like that. Warner Brothers label. I'll get back to the Japan. It cut me off right there. Some kind of what you would call new age guy plays acoustic guitar. Michael Hedges. I recognize the name. Just off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you much about him. I think he's somewhat of an ECM artist. I think this is on A&M though. I just pulled these out because my tape quit running, and I just thumbed through these real quick, and most of them are Wynton Marsalis. Wynton Marsalis has one good album that I like that's live, and it's like 6 or 7 discs, and I had it when I was young. I learned about Wynton Marsalis because I saw him live. He came to my hometown, and he played with a lot of other people. He liked playing with Marcus Roberts and people like that. And, you know, I liked him, but then when I learned more and more about jazz, I didn't like him as much. I still watch some of his stuff live on YouTube. Maynard Ferguson, I think I mentioned him yesterday. This is a double disc. I've got all these kind of bunched together that I've played, and I think I bought 10 for a dollar wherever I bought these at, or I bought them right off where I work at. But just kind of going through them, I'm beginning to recognize some of these albums, but I only listened to them once. Kind of looking at them. William Ackerman, I think he's in the same vein, you know, just kind of new agey type jazz. Kind of in the same vein of that Michael Hedges. Sorry, I don't know that much about it. Let's see if I recognize any of these players. I really don't. I think I recognize George Winston over there on bass. But, you know, this is not spectacular stuff. It's just, it's more filler, and it's more for when you want to listen to records just for the sake of listening to records. You know, because they have better sound quality and they have better ambience and all that. Wynton Marsalis again. National Philharmonic Orchestra. I don't think these are that good. Wynton Marsalis doesn't necessarily do exactly what I want him to do. Let's talk about Japan. Back to it. I like Japan a lot, actually. They got an 80s synthesizer sound. Richard Barbieri, you know, some of these players gone on to play with other players that I like Steven Wilson and Porcupine Tree. Japan just has a really synthy sound, really laid-back synthy sound. They're good. I like them a lot. Sugarloaf, don't remember exactly what this sounds like, but this is a regarded album within kind of like psychedelic, poppy, hard rock. You know, it's kind of hard to come by. It's not something that's like super popular or anything like that on Liberty Records, but people that are record connoisseurs know about this. I can't necessarily remember what this sounds like. But I remember liking it, and I remember kind of liking the aura of the band, you know, just kind of what they represent and whatnot. But, you know, it just comes from that, hey, if you can find a $2 or $3 record or a $1 record at a garage sale, I love to pick stuff like this up and explore. They remind me of some, you know, just other stuff I've heard, and I remember seeing videos about Sugarloaf online of people that would pick up records, and then when I found that one at a garage sale. I was really chuffed to find it because, you know, it had been kind of recommended to me via YouTube. Not directly recommended, but, you know, I could tell by the people I was listening to that it would be something I want. This is PH7 by Peter Hamill. Peter Hamill played with Vandergraaf Generator, which was a progressive rock band. Love Peter Hamill. I mean, I absolutely love Peter Hamill. He has so much music, though. I mean, just so much. I had this downloaded onto my phone. I listened to it a few times. If I could find the song listing, I mean, he had a couple songs on here that were just so sad, I guess. I can't think of the right word, but they're kind of haunting and sad. And that's who Peter Hamill was. If you have a kind of, you know, if you're in a bad emotional state, that's what the music sounds like, a bad emotional state. You have to get used to his voice. He has a very uneasy voice. I mean, it's kind of uneasy music in a way, but Peter Hamill, stuff with Van de Graaff Generator, I love. There's nothing famous I could say by him. He probably has 25, 30 solo albums. Is this on the Charisma label? I just really like Peter Hamill a lot. I really respected what he did. This is on the Charisma label. It's not the original, but it's a good one. It's nice to have stuff on the Charisma label. That's where Genesis and Van de Graaff came from. You know, they kind of epitomize what I think progressive rock at its finest is. And Van de Graaff Generator, Peter Hamill, is one of my favorite artists. It's very brooding, just everything about it. If I could look at the song listing on here, there's 2 or 3 songs on here that I really like. And just overall, I just think, you know, what he does and the way he puts together records, they're all good. But we were talking about different inceptions of groups. Just Van de Graaff Generator went through a lot of inceptions. Peter Hamill himself went through a lot of inceptions. This one's called PH7. It's really good. I downloaded it onto my phone. I probably listened to it at least 50 times. It's that good. And just his stuff in general is really good. I can't say that I've listened to every bit of everything because there's so much of it. The Serpent is Rising. I mentioned this album the other day. I think I just called it The Serpent. It's called The Serpent is Rising. It's a really good album, but it's brought down by one just stupid song. I think it's, sheesh, I can't think of the name of it. I can't figure out which one it is on here, but he's talking about like a toilet seat or something like that. This is Wooden Nickel, and I'll show you the label, the Wooden Nickel label. But the first 4 Styx albums, and I've talked about this before, are really good. Somewhat progressive, pretty good albums. And this is one of them. The record's in great shape. I was really happy to pick this up. You know, Styx is one of those that if you want to collect albums, you like Styx. It's one of the cheaper bands it's even cheaper than Yes or anything like that as far as when it comes to collecting vinyl. Their stuff is a little bit easier to find and a little bit cheaper. I think this is the last one. Ravi Shankar. I mentioned him yesterday. Obviously he plays a sitar. I couldn't think of what he played. When you can find his albums for 10 cents, they're worth buying. I mean, if you can find them at a garage sale, they're worth buying. Are they you know, do I want to sit around and listen to a sitar all day? No. But they're just really well pressed. And if you want to listen to a record for the sake of listening to a record, you know, I say that, but they have better sound quality. They have better ambience. They're fun to stick the needle down on. This is the kind of stuff I like to pick up, you know. Even though it's not the best stuff in the world. This is a radio station copy, so it's probably a really good pressing. Haven't listened to it in ages. But I have a few of his albums, and, you know, they're just nice. They're nice to have. They're nice to have stuff to listen to on vinyl. They're, you know, just to drop the needle on it and listen to. Larry Carlton, Alone But Not Alone. Wish I could say some stuff about this album. He's obviously a guitar player. Not a whole lot I can say because I don't know that much about him. Love the sleeve. And it's on Capitol. Or no, it's on MCA. No custom label, just an MCA label. I wish this was Larry Coryell. Larry Coryell is a guitar player that died just recently, who's a jazz guitar player. I have one album by his, don't know where it is. I wish this was it, because then I could talk about Larry Coryell. Rest in peace. But no, this is Larry Carlton, and I don't know that much about him. Thank you, guys. Take care.